Well, here we are in the auspicious surroundings of the Director of Rugby of Doncaster Knights' room, and a man that few Pontypridd supporters will not remember, or will remember, as the case may be, Davey, fullback, kicker extraordinaire, scorer of all our points in the Principality Cup final back in 2001-2002, and Brett, must have been pleasing for you today to watch Ponty demolish the Knights, no? Sorry.
I'd probably have to say no.
You probably do, yeah.
No, it's only fair for me to say no.
Of course it is.
Of course. But no, we were second best. We were second best and the best side won. Pains me to say it, but remind me a lot of how Ponty used to be.
It's been something a bit special this season, and yeah, I'm not here to rub it in any shape or form, but we were much better than you. Much. No, I joke. I tell you what. I don't know what happened at half time, but the Knights certainly were well better than us in the first half, because you just held us now at half for I don't know how long.
Well, we had a lot of obviously a lot of territory in the game in the first half, and it was a bit frustrating actually to be at half time 13-10 with the dominance that we had, and it just happens, you know. I think they tried just before half time probably give Ponty a lift, and sort of got us on a step backwards, and we never recovered from it. And
the yellow card put play to
because Ponty scored straight away, and it was just frustrating more than anything else. And then we were playing catch up rugby, and then we got ourselves back into a game, and in many respects it reminded us of a game we played 2 weeks ago against Birmingham, but we got no complaints. I thought the referee was particularly good actually.
I thought considering
he thought he came in for a lot of criticism, but I thought probably the contact area was the best refereed contact area we've had all year.
Considering how whistle happy he seemed to be, actually, I think every decision was the right decision. I couldn't really argue with much of what he was doing.
No,
I mean, it's frustrating for the sport. It's obviously.
I think for us there was a moment in the first sort of 10-15 minutes where we had a 5 metre scrum, but which we probably think he's got wrong. But I mean, apart from that, I think during the game itself, I thought he refereed the game really well.
I think you're probably right. Doncaster, how's he going? Apart from today, obviously.
No, it's brilliant. It's a fantastic club, and it's a place where I now call home. It reminds me very much of South Wales, and we're trying to build something here, and we've got a young squad. We've made some radical changes over the last sort of 12 to 18 months, and we're going to be making more changes again, and striving to put Doncaster hopefully one day in the Premiership, and that's the element there.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got a hell of a setup here.
Yeah, it's a great setup. I think obviously Tony DeMulder and Steve Lloyd, who are two benefactors, they've put a lot of money into the club, and the stand is testament to them really. It's a fantastic setup, and it's run by really good people, and I'm just fortunate to be part of that club at the moment. So it's fantastic. Because
I mean, ask this of all the players in the interviews, but of course this is a slightly more light-hearted interview after all. Although we've been quite deep so far. What's the Brett Davey story? How did you get started?
I got started pretty much with Bale Rugby Club, which is my home club, and started playing youth rugby, trying to get fit for a football season. And then played a few games of rugby and started from there really, and then after I finished youth rugby I was asked to go to Bridgend. Had about just over a season at Bridgend, and then went to my stake for 4 years, which was a fantastic club. Loved every minute of it, met some great people, and then I had the opportunity, I had a phone call off Chris Davey to go and join Caerphilly, who had just got promoted to the Welsh Premiership at the time. And even though we got relegated in the first year, we got relegated. Then the second season, then I took up goal kicking again, and that's really all kicked off then. And then I had 2 years at Caerphilly, where we finished 5th in my final year, and joined Pontypridd in '99. And I had 4 years at Pontypridd, and then I went to regional rugby, and I went to Newport Gwent Dragons for 6 months, and then I finished my career then at Bristol for 6 months.
Of course.
And then after that, then it was that final year I already started coaching Davey, which like I said before was my home club, and after 4 years at Davey, guided him into a position where we won the first division, and then was denied promotion then through criteria which still
rankles with you, doesn't it?
It does rankle with me when you have to go to places like Llandudno last week, you know, when there's about 100 people watching a game of rugby, you know, and I don't, you know, I've never understood the decision, and I never will, and you know, you've got to be honest with yourself, and you know, I still feel exactly the same way now as I did then. It'll never change my mind. No. You know, and I think you see with regional rugby what's happening at the moment. It's not in a healthier shape. The national squad's not in a healthier shape. Pontypridd top of the Welsh Premiership, and you know, I think
pushing for honours in the British and Irish Cup.
Yeah,
I mean, the strange thing is, this is the pinnacle for us, this British and Irish Cup, which is such a shame because there's so much more here, so much more with Ponty. Considering we train twice a week, I mean it's pretty amazing considering what the coaching staff are managing to achieve. You know.
I think it's very important that you discussed the coaching team, because like I put in the programme notes today that. If it wasn't for Paul and Chief, I don't think Pontypridd would have had the success that they would have had anyway. I think they showed loyalty at a time where players were either left, right, or centre, and they stayed. I still feel that had they gone, then Pontypridd would have pretty much slid off the edges of top flight rugby in Wales at the time. But they stayed and they showed exactly what Pontypridd is really all about, and how. I mean, I remember distinctly you playing with us, and I mean it was just a great time in Welsh rugby back in 2002 with the Principality Cup final. Obviously the London Irish match was something else in the Park Bend Shield. The final. I've only got 2 games on tape that I kept, and obviously the cup final is one, the Welsh Cup final, and the London Irish game is a game that I feel most fondest about.
It was something else.
Yeah, it was just a great game of rugby.
And considering we had a makeshift winger, Baber, on the wing, because Richard Johnston was out, and
well, we had 6 different left wingers.
Yeah, it was a bit of a scratch team.
That's unfair on Garth, because Garth was a good player anyway.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm not taking that away from him. But the fact that Baber gave a pass out to Wyatt, what was it, a minute from the initial kick-off? It was just something else.
I think it was something like Gareth Baber to Sonny back to Wyatt.
Yeah.
Under the post.
And Mellon scoring a beautiful try. It was just.
They went a driving line out. Try from a driving line out, and I think the rest were penalties.
How personally, on a personal level, how frustrating was it for you? Because you played in a Wales development squad. I remember, I think at Neath it was. That must rank with you still.
No, not really.
No,
not really.
You over it?
No, because it wasn't my ambition to play for Wales. My ambition was.
Brett, you deserved to play for Wales at that point in time.
Well, this is where it gets sort of misplaced, because I think had I been capped for Wales, it wouldn't have meant a massive amount to me. And I know that sounds very difficult to understand, but I think it's 79. I think the year it is. My grandmother took me to watch Ponty against Bridgend in a cup final, and I don't come from a particularly strong rugby background, but it had a massive influence on me. I remember the day distinctly, and my grandmother who's passed away now, but it was really important that I wanted to play in a cup final, and even now, and I still genuinely believe that it was fate. We were absolutely fated to win that competition that year, and I still believe it. And a lot of the things that, it was very easy to just look at the final, but the build up to the final, we had Blackwood away. I think it was in the last 16, and Blackwood played really, really well. And I felt out of the 4 games, that was the game where I probably played best in, because it was a tough game, but it was just able to calm things down in a certain way. Then we played Caerphilly then in the quarterfinals at Sardis. We played Cardiff then in the semi-final, which we won 31-26.
And I distinctly remember John Bryan's tackle on Rhys Williams in that one. That was turned him right over.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's no stopping. I mean, Lynn put together a phenomenal squad.
Well, I think we had a good balance. I think we had a balance between senior players and young players. And we had young players who were from Ponty or within the area. I mean, you had Gethin Jenkins, Michael Owen, Kerry Sweeney, mixed with the older players of Dale McIntosh, Paul John,
Mevin,
who came out, Mevin wasn't from the area, but he was a
no,
player.
exactly.
He had a front row with Duncan Bell, Mevin, Gethin Jenkins, and you can argue the point it was probably the best front row in British rugby at that time. You'd be very hard pushed, and you got Brett Cobain, Bobby Sidoli, Richard Parks, Nick Kelly, Michael Owen, Chief, and you've got an awful lot of good players in. You've got John Bryant, Sonny Parker. To play in that side it's an easy thing. It's a very easy thing when you've got 14 players in front of you who are really good players. Playing fullback's a doddle. Honestly, playing fullback is a doddle when you've got them players in front of you, because they make everything happen for you. And if they're on their game, playing fullback is simple. And that's really what it all came down to, was the fact that you had an awful lot of good players who were able to work things out on a rugby field.
They're very sweet memories for you, aren't they?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, best. But it's difficult as a player. It's definitely the highlight of my career. As a coach, what I did with Baylor was as equally as important for me as the cup final was. But it's they were great times. It was 4 years that. The last year was very painful. I think 2002-2003 season was painful because I started to see players not wearing the shirt with the pride that we had all worn, because they'd gone to regional rugby for the following year, and obviously players knew that they were going here, there, and everywhere, and it became a very, very difficult time for players to actually work hard for the club, because if they got injured, then where did that put on? There was no safeguard, so players were protecting themselves, and it was just an awkward time.
A difficult time to remain focused, I suppose.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was very difficult, and it wasn't a good time. And I think the last sort of 3 months of that season were horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I think from the March to the May it's not how rugby should be. But players obviously have to duplicate themselves, and it was awkward. It was very awkward.
And the future for Brett Davey, obviously Lynn, it's well publicised that Lynn will be leaving as DOR at the end of the season. Your name's in the ring.
Yeah.
Your name's in the hat.
Well, that's one of the reasons I came here was hopefully to take over from Lynn. But I've got interviews this week, and it's not a foregone conclusion by any stretch of the imagination. And it's certainly where I want to be, because like I say, I call Doncaster home. It's where I enjoy to be. But we'll see what happens.
We shall see what happens. We'll certainly keep a watch on it in Pontypridd with some interest. Anyway, it's always nice to have fond recollections with former players. It's especially your good self, because you were part of a package at a time that was just something else to watch. As a supporter, we don't often get to say this, but we need to thank guys like you for putting Pontypridd just up there. We were stupendous.
I was saying it was a great time, but. Yeah, just one last thing from me as well.
Go on.
That's the supporters themselves, and it was good to see so many people come up from Ponty today, and it's sort of, it's a great opportunity to reminisce about how we used to be. But the supporters were very much the focal point for the Pontypridd players, and I don't think it gets mentioned enough. That when you go away to places like Oxford and to Wasps and all these places, and you've got 3,000-4,000 travelling supporters, it makes a massive difference. It makes an almighty difference, and it's the only thing I've always said this. It's the closest thing to what Munster have got. It's that identity of a local community, and we can argue all day about the rights and wrongs of regional rugby, but that's the one thing I think is missing more than anything else. It's how do you relate to a region in comparison to a club. And it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time, and I'm hoping that one day that it'll solve it. It'll work itself out.
Yeah, my personal feeling is that this is exclusively my feeling, is that regional rugby will never work itself out unless it takes on a club format, because I just don't see people buying into it. And I'm not going to draw you on this one, because
the question I would ask today is we've probably got 450 to 500 supporters come from Pontypridd for an away game, and I would wonder if the Cardiff Blues played Glasgow, how many travelling supporters they would take to Glasgow.
Who knows?
I don't know, but
who knows?
Certainly,
I doubt very many more.
Whether it would be whether we need 400 or 500.
No, I'd struggle to see that. 50 on a good day, I reckon.
No, but that's life.
Well, it's been a pleasure, actually. Thank you very much indeed.
Welcome to the hub of Doncaster.
Yes, goodness me. Yorkshire tea, I see. Oh, the only tea. The only tea, in my opinion.
Yeah, PG tips are gone.
Yeah. No Glengetty or my Red Welsh brew anymore. It's all Yorkshire tea. Brett, diolch yn fawr iawn. Very good luck to you with the quest for DOR. I wish you all the very best for Doncaster. I can't say I'm not. I don't feel sad for you, because I really don't. But we thoroughly enjoyed our time here, and thank you very much for having us.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. You've obviously enjoyed the day far more than what I have. And but like we said earlier, best side won, and we got more complaints.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I can't take any of the plaudits myself, although I do maintain that I am the heart and soul of this team. Brett, it's been a pleasure. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Good luck to you for the rest of the season.
Cheers, thanks, mate.